Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, on a poor farm in Kentucky. This was not a place of wealth or luxury. The Lincoln family's log cabin was dilapidated, with a roof that had long rotted away, and the barren fields stretched out endlessly without a hint of greenery. His parents, Thomas and Nancy Lincoln, worked tirelessly from dawn to dusk just to make ends meet. Yet, despite these hardships, they could never rise above their poverty. Abraham grew up surrounded by a lack of everything. He had no access to formal education, no schools, no teachers. What he did have was a burning desire for knowledge. He never complained about his circumstances. Instead of playing like other children, young Abraham spent most of his time reading any old books he could find at home or borrow from the poor neighbors. Under the dim light of a kerosene lamp, young Abraham immersed himself in the pages of his books. Books became Abraham's world. Each book was a door to a new world, a place where he could learn and discover dreams. While life outside the cabin remained dark and difficult, books offered him a place to find hope. Lincoln realized that knowledge was the only way to change his fate. With perseverance and a strong thirst for knowledge, Abraham Lincoln not only overcame difficult circumstances, but also built an impressive career. Despite lacking resources or support from his family, he taught himself law and became a renowned lawyer. The values he pursued, justice, freedom, and honesty, earned him the admiration and trust of many. However, what made Lincoln stand out was not just his talent or legal career, but his vision and ideals. At a time when the nation was deeply divided over slavery and freedom, he became the voice of the values America needed. He didn't just speak up for the rights of the people, but was also unafraid to confront the significant social issues of his time. This, in turn, created a strong connection with voters, particularly those who believed in a country where freedom and equality were guaranteed for all citizens. In 1860, when the Republican Party chose Abraham Lincoln as their presidential candidate, they saw him not only as a talented politician, but also as a man who could save the country from division. These qualities ultimately helped him win the election and become the 16th President of the United States. As Abraham grew older, he realized that the road to change would not be easy. After many years of hard labor and menial jobs, Lincoln decided to pursue a career in politics. But his political journey was far from a bed of roses. Without money or powerful connections, he had to rise up on his own in a society full of challenges. Lincoln began teaching himself law, with no formal classes or professors. His life was full of struggles and setbacks. Although he didn't have guidance from scholars or institutions, Lincoln persisted, studying from books and his own life experiences. Throughout the early years of his political career, he lost many elections. He had no wealthy family or support from the elite, but he never gave up. He knew that only perseverance and honesty could guide him to success. In 1834, he began running for office, and though he lost, he never gave up. Each failure only made him stronger. He continued to believe in his ideals of freedom and justice. When Lincoln began to speak in public forums, he was not just a politician, but a man willing to speak for the poor and the voiceless in society. In 1861, Abraham Lincoln entered the White House at a time of national crisis. The United States was on the brink of collapse. The Civil War erupted as the Southern states seceded and formed the Confederacy. The country was divided, and the war was not just about slavery. It was a war over ideals, freedom versus injustice. As president, Lincoln knew that if the Union wasn't preserved, everything he had fought for, his beliefs in liberty and justice, would be shattered. But this decision was not an easy one. Lincoln faced fierce opposition from all sides. Generals, politicians, and even some of his own supporters doubted his decisions. Yet, he was determined to preserve the Union at any cost. Every day, he had to make incredibly difficult decisions. Should he continue fighting or seek a peace negotiation? Despite knowing that the war would cost thousands of lives, Lincoln never backed down. He believed that victory was the only way to preserve the values he had always defended. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln made a decision that would change not just America, but the world: the Emancipation Proclamation. This was a bold and difficult decision, as it was not merely a legal document, it was a moral declaration ending slavery, something many in the country opposed. Lincoln knew this decision would cost him support from those who favored the South, but he was unwavering. He believed this was the most important step he could take to protect the nation. Slavery was not just an issue for one group of people, it was a matter for the entire society. Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation not just out of necessity, but because of his responsibility to humanity and justice. Finally, the war ended. The Union was saved, but the cost was staggering. Lincoln witnessed the sacrifice of millions of people, and even though the Union had won, he did not live to see the true peace that followed. On the evening of April 14, 1865, just as the war was nearing its end, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater. This was an indescribable tragedy. A nation that had just won the war now faced a massive loss. Lincoln, who had poured his heart and soul into uniting and liberating the country, would never live to witness the full fruition of his work. But even in death, his legacy lives on. Today, Abraham Lincoln is not just a figure from history, but an eternal symbol of perseverance, responsible leadership, and love for freedom. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., stands as a living testament to what he did for this nation. His image continues to resonate in the hearts of all Americans, a shining example of honesty and compassion. Lincoln's legacy is a story that doesn't belong just to the past, but is a source of inspiration for future generations. The ideals he fought for: freedom, justice, and equality remain the foundation of American society today. Abraham Lincoln is a model for anyone who believes that an individual, no matter their circumstances, can change the world if they are steadfast and pursue their ideals. The story of Abraham Lincoln is one of challenges and sacrifices, but it is also a journey of resilience, integrity, and love for freedom. His legacy continues to shine through each generation, reminding us that a determined individual born in poverty can change a nation and the world. Thank you for watching. If you found this story inspiring, please like the video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts. Your support motivates us to bring more impactful stories and valuable lessons. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any future videos about great historical figures. See you in the next video.